Two rotations in the book. Two still to go here in our SEC Gymnastics meet between Kentucky and Auburn. And warming up on the floor, Jjulie Dwyer, who will go last.
You know, coaches usually try to stack the lineup with the best athlete at the end in order to boost their score. Jjulie will anchor this lineup with an upgraded routine that she debuted at last year's SECs. It should be a good one because Auburn is always pretty polished and showy on this event.
And we'll start things off for the Auburn Tigers on the floor with Claire Seiffert, and she's a vault and floor specialist, 7-time Kentucky state champion in a number of events, including the floor. Getting set to make her first of 3 passes.
Winning pass, round back handspring, double pike, solid landing. Claire is a junior who walked on but earned herself a full scholarship this year. That's quite a wonderful reward for any athlete. A reward for her hard work and dedication to this Tiger program. Front tumbling pass, front full to a front layout in combination. The athletes are required to do at least 3 different saltos in a routine.
In 2005, she won the floor, vault, beam, bars in all around in the state of Kentucky. So how about that?
Certainly an expert on this event. Power and strength are important on floor, but so is showmanship and good choreography and attention to detail.
Getting set for her final pass.
With what we call a Rudy. It's a front layout with a 1.5 twist. Solid start for the Tigers.
Claire Seiffert, the junior from Louisville, Kentucky, on the floor. Let's take another look at this last pass.
Many gymnastic skills are named after its inventor, and this final skill is called a Rudy. It's a front layout with a 1.5 twist, and it's named after Dave Rudolph, who was a trampolinist in the late 1920s.
A good start for Auburn, a floor score of 9.7. Well, Mitchell's squad looks on as they're trying to win their first SEC dual meet in 2 years, and they're up on the beam next.
Well, Mitchell said that this would be an important event for them. He says it's usually that make or break event. It's certainly an event with high risk and one that nerves can take its toll.
Hillary Ferguson will be first up. You see her career high 9.750. Is a little more pressure right now on the Wildcats after they have that big lead and it's been cut into.
Well, I think anytime you go to balance beam, there is a lot of pressure on these athletes. And, you know, that leadoff position for Hillary is an important one. We talked about the importance of stacking the lineups with your most talented athletes near the end so that you can really start to boost those scores. But on beam especially, this leadoff position is so important. You want to hit that calms the nerves of the rest of your team. Solid tumble series by handspring layout. Think long and hard on who is the best athlete to fill this position. Do a lot of inter squad activities in the gym, putting their athletes under pressure.
She had the highest Wildcat score on the vault earlier of a 9.775.
Getting her aerial cartwheel there. 2 straddle jumps in combination with a back tuck, solid. She is showing a great deal of confidence on this event. So important on beam. See here her teammates on the sidelines cheering her on into the dismount, round off 1.5 twist. Nice attention to detail throughout this entire routine, all the way to the landing of the dismount. Here's that connection of 3 elements. 2 straddle jumps into a back tuck. She gets combination bonus. In order to have a start value from a 10, the athletes must get at least 5 tenths in combination bonus or bonus from difficult skills.
And she started things off with a score of 9.7 for the Wildcats on the beam. We move back to the floor, and Lindsey Puckett, who's really been one of the studs for this Auburn Tiger team so far tonight. And prior to the meet, she chatted with us about her goals here in 2008.
Me as an individual, definitely nationals. Would much rather be there with the team, though, than by myself. So I'm going to do everything I can to motivate the girls and help them understand how exciting nationals actually is, since for being there, and it's incredible.
A team success is the #1 priority for every single one of these gymnasts here, and you talk to those who have been at the top in this sport, they said they trade all of their individual successes in for the same for the team.
Getting ready for her first pass.
Opening with a sky-high double back. A little bit low on difficulty level on that first pass, but she's told me that she is training more difficulty, a double layout. She also says that she trains in the same group as teammate jJulie Dwyer, and then Julie has really motivated her to increase her goals and her difficulty and to work on her consistency.
Well, some of the elements that they've been working on the last 5 months, we won't quite see this early in the season yet.
Right, this is still so early in the season. You don't want to start putting in those difficult skills until you're ready, because they want to avoid any injuries, especially with this Auburn team who struggled so much with injuries last year. It's also an important aspect of the sport not to peak too early. The season is very long, and if you start doing those high-level skills, not only will your body be worn out by the end of the season, but you'll be worn out mentally as well. A little short on her final pass, a double pike, but an excellent routine for Lindsey. Boy, she's having a great meet today.
She is one of the most consistent performers for the Auburn Tigers thus far.
Let's take a look at that opening pass. She does a front step out, round off back handspring to a sky-high double back. She does it in the tuck position, which makes it a little bit easier than the skill that she's training in the gym, the double layout with the straight body position, an element we'll see from Julie Dwyer later.
But still a great score on the floor, 9.8. When we come back to Lexington, rotation 3 continues. Back in Lexington, we continue with our SEC Gymnastics meet. We're midway through rotation 3 between Auburn and Kentucky, who continues on the beam, and Heather Hite, who has battled knee injuries throughout her entire career, but has been very resilient.
My legs are feeling good. It's been a rough, couple of years trying to rehab and all that stuff, but our trainer has worked with me a lot. Our orthopedic surgeon has worked with me a lot, and they understand that I have leg problems, but I've worked through them, and I feel great about this season.
The situation's been going on for several years, but just in the last year, she's had 5 knee surgeries. It's so impressive that she is here not only competing, but in great shape and so confident as well.
Her career high on the beam is a 9.950. Last year, she won 7 events, so she's really an integral part to this Kentucky Wildcat team.
And so strong on this event. 2 back handsprings to a layout, slight wobble. She told me that she has never had a second thought about pushing through these tough times. She's quite a leader on this team. She's the co-captain this year as a junior. Front aerial. Takes a pause into the gainer layout. Now, Coach Mo Mitchell said that one of the biggest differences with this year's team is their stronger leadership, and it starts with the co-captains, Heather Hite and Chrissy Cannon.
Well, they're still a fairly young team.
Still very young, and a solid finish for Heather Hite with a gainer full dismount. Young can be good in this sport. They often say athletes peak around 15 or 16 years of age, but at the collegiate level, it's nice to have a little bit of experience and know what's going to be coming ahead of you.
Heather Hite 9.725, and meanwhile back on the floor, Julie Dwyer getting some last-minute advice from associate head coach Rachel Thompson. Of course, she has lofty goals for her team here in 2008.
Goals this year, as an individual, I just want to help lead the team and just be the consistent rock on the team. But honestly, it's all about the team this year. I want to get to nationals. I want to prove to everyone how good we really are when we're healthy, and just how great of a team we have this year.
You know, she looked a little embarrassed saying she was the rock of this team, but she really has been. I think she's missed about 4 teams in her entire Auburn career so far.
She has scored a 9-9 4 times in her career on this event.
still that's not enough. She upgraded her difficulty before the SEC Championships last year with this opening pass. It's a double layout, a little bit short on rotation, but huge difficulty. Of course, we saw her landing on that landing mat. That is allowed in competition, and it helps decrease the impact on the ankles. The one vault really put a lot of pressure and impact on those ankles and knees.
And you can see her right and left foot heavily taped.
Looks like she's dealing with the normal shin splints that a gymnast deals with, as well as possible ankle injury. Or quite often the athletes simply tape their ankles and legs for preventative reasons. Three jumps in combination.
Watching the SEC Freshman of the Year, her freshman campaign, and followed up with the Gymnast of the Year as a sophomore.
Last year she was Scholar Athlete of the Year in the SEC, finishing with a strong double pike. Nice difficulty to the end. Excellent job for Julie.
And Jeff Thompson enjoying what he saw here as well.
Now Julie is about 5'5" tall. That's a little bit taller than many gymnasts, and that makes this pass even more difficult because you have to get that taller body through 2 rotations in the straight position.
Score of 9.75 for Julie Dwyer, and they finish with a 48.375 on the floor.
And 5 out of 6 hits for Auburn. That's a good start, but I think we'll see these scores come up later in the season.
Back on the beam, Emily Green, a sophomore, career high 9.825 last year as a freshman.
So Kentucky has had 1 fall on this event so far, and they are counting 1 weak score because of wobbles. Remember, they can drop 1 score. Tumbling pass, back handspring layout, back handspring swing down. A unique combination of skills. That's a tumbling sequence that we don't often see in collegiate gymnastics. Switch leap to a gainer layout in combination. Gaining some bonus points there. And of course, leaps and jumps are important on beam. One of the requirements is a dance connection with at least 2 elements that are either leaps, turns, or jumps, and they have to have a large leap of 180-degree split. We saw that in the switch split and in the split jump. So far, a strong routine, just the dismount, a 1.5 twist, tiny hop on the landing. Great routine.
Emily Green continues to be very solid for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Here's a look at that interesting tumble series. 3 elements, back handspring layout, back handspring swing down. It's that final element that makes it a little bit different. Many of the other athletes do a second layout or a back handspring to their feet.
A 9.725 for Emily Green. Remember, she started things off with a 9.9, and overall for the Wildcats, a 48.2 on the beam.
After a fall, they are forced to count that 9.425. Not a particularly strong score for Kentucky, but good news for them. They're heading to their best event floor.
Auburn has chipped into the Wildcat lead, the 4th rotation when we come back to Lexington.